Ladies and gentlemen, look around you. It's tempting to measure where you're at by the steps others have taken, by the successes and failures that belong to someone else. But let me ask you, where does that path actually lead you? If you spend your time watching someone else's journey who's steering yours, today I'm here to tell you there's nothing more powerful than choosing to focus on yourself. By the time we're done, I want you to walk away inspired, driven, and ready to build a path that belongs to you alone. Focusing on others is a distraction, it's a detour from your own potential. I want you to stay with me today because we're diving into what it means to be relentless in pursuing your own purpose, undistracted by others. Focusing on yourself means becoming the architect of your own life, creating a foundation that is yours alone, built on your values, your aspirations, and your vision. It's all too easy to get lost in watching what others are doing, seeing their accomplishments, comparing their journey to yours. But when you focus on others, whether on their successes or their struggles, you're giving away a part of yourself. You're giving away your energy, your time, and your potential. To truly become the architect of your own path, you have to be intentional about where you direct your focus, because what you focus on grows. Imagine building a house. You wouldn't spend hours looking at your neighbor's home, studying the design, trying to mimic every detail and comparing every choice. No, you'd be focused on laying your foundation, finding the right materials, designing a space that reflects who you are. Life works the same way. When you focus on others, it's as if you're building someone else's dream instead of your own. You become distracted, caught up in trying to fit into a mold that wasn't meant for you, a structure that doesn't align with your unique gifts, strengths, and potential. Being the architect of your own path means making deliberate choices that align with who you want to become. It's about listening to your inner voice instead of the noise around you. When you focus on yourself, you gain clarity about what matters to you. You begin to understand your values, your desires, and the kind of life that will bring you fulfillment. This clarity is crucial because without it, it's easy to drift, to follow trends, to try to live up to others' expectations instead of pursuing what truly fulfills you. Life is full of distractions. Everywhere you turn, someone else's life is on display, especially in the age of social media. We see snippets of others' lives, their successes, the highlights, the moments of achievement, and we start to wonder if we're doing enough, if we're on the right track. But here's the truth, those snippets are just that, fragments of a bigger picture. They don't show the struggles, the failures, the countless hours of hard work that went into those moments. And more importantly, they don't define your path or what you're capable of achieving. Every moment you spend wishing you were on someone else's journey is a moment you lose on your own. Imagine what could happen if, instead of looking outward, you turned inward. Imagine if you spent that energy on improving yourself, on taking the next step in your own journey. When you focus on yourself, you start to see the potential within you. You begin to believe in your capacity to grow, to change, to create a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. This isn't about ignoring others or pretending you don't notice what's happening around you. It's about recognizing that your path is unique, that no one else's success or failure determines your own. Being the architect of your own life also means taking full responsibility for your actions, your decisions, and the direction you're heading. It's not about blaming others or waiting for the perfect circumstances. It's about understanding that your life is in your hands and that every choice you make is a step in building the future you want. This responsibility is empowering. It gives you the control and the freedom to shape your life. When you focus on others, it's easy to fall into a mindset of comparison and often excuses. You start to believe that you're behind or that you're not good enough because you're measuring yourself by someone else's standards. But when you take control, when you become intentional about your choices, you start to realize that you have the power to create a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling to you. Focusing on yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's the foundation of personal growth, of self-improvement, of becoming the person you were meant to be. It's about dedicating your time, your resources, and your energy to things that will help you grow, things that will move you forward. When you invest in yourself, you're building a strong, resilient foundation that can weather any storm. You're giving yourself the tools to handle challenges, to overcome setbacks, and to keep moving forward no matter what. When you focus on yourself, you also start to cultivate a deeper sense of self-worth. You stop seeking validation from others and instead learn to value yourself for who you are and the unique qualities you bring to the world. This self-worth becomes a source of strength, a well that you can draw from during tough times. It reminds you that you are enough, that your journey is valuable, and that you don't need to measure up to anyone else's standards. At the end of the day, focusing on yourself means choosing to live a life that feels true to you. It means becoming intentional about the steps you take, the goals you set, and the dreams you pursue. It's about building a future that reflects who you are, not a copy of someone else's life. So invest in yourself, believe in your own journey, and commit to becoming the best version of yourself. That's the power of focus. That's the foundation of a life well lived. Comparison can be one of the biggest thieves of personal progress. When you measure yourself against others, you often rob yourself of the joy that comes from your unique journey. It's easy to look at someone else's success, their talents, or even their possessions and feel as if you're lacking something. But here's the reality: every time you focus on someone else's life, you're taking away from the energy and attention you could be putting into your own growth. You're chasing a shadow rather than building your own light. The key to real progress, to genuine happiness, lies in keeping your focus on your journey, your pace, and your growth. When you compare yourself to others, you're often looking at their best moments, not their whole story. Social media, conversations, and even casual encounters with people tend to showcase the highlights rather than the full picture. You might see someone achieving a goal, sharing an accomplishment, or living in a way that appears to be effortlessly successful. But those glimpses are just that, glimpses. They don't show the struggles, sacrifices, or challenges that person faced to get there. It's easy to believe that someone else's life is better, but in reality, every journey has its hurdles. What you're really seeing is only the tip of the iceberg. Constantly comparing yourself to others can also create a sense of self-doubt and inadequacy that is hard to shake off. When you measure yourself by someone else's achievements, you set up a scale that was never meant for you. Everyone's path is different, shaped by individual experiences, backgrounds, and goals. You are not meant to walk in someone else's shoes. You have your own path to follow. What's the point of holding yourself to someone else's standards when you have your own strengths, skills, and aspirations? Progress isn't about beating someone else. It's about becoming a better version of yourself than you were yesterday. Think about it this way: when you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing as fast as the one next to it. You nurture it, water it, and let it grow at its own pace. Personal growth is the same. It requires patience, care, and most importantly, a focus on the seed itself, not on the plants growing around it. Your journey has its own rhythm, its own timing, and you have to trust in that process. By constantly comparing, you interrupt the natural growth that's meant for you, the path that's unfolding in its own way, at its own speed. Another thing to remember is that focusing on your own growth allows you to build a sense of resilience and inner peace that comparison can never offer. When you're always looking outward, you make your happiness dependent on what others are doing, which can lead to constant dissatisfaction. This is because there will always be someone who has more, seems to be achieving more. But when you focus on your own journey, you start to find fulfillment in your own progress, no matter how small or gradual it may be. You're no longer swayed by what others are doing, and that sense of peace is incredibly empowering. It means that your happiness comes from within, from knowing you're doing the best you can with what you have without needing external validation. Comparison also limits your ability to appreciate and celebrate your own accomplishments. When you're always looking over at someone else's achievements, you can overlook the hard work, the milestones, and the successes that you've achieved. It's easy to say, well, I did this, but it's nothing compared to what they've done. This mindset diminishes your own efforts and downplays your own growth. When you focus on your own journey, however, you start to see and appreciate your progress for what it is, a unique personal achievement that only you can fully understand and appreciate. Each step forward, each small victory becomes a reason to celebrate rather than a chance to feel less than. Another powerful shift happens when you stop comparing and start embracing your own journey. You gain clarity on what truly matters to you. When you're looking at others, you can get caught up in their goals, their achievements, and even their values. But those things may not even align with what you truly want. Focusing on yourself allows you to identify what's important to you, what drives you, and what fulfills you. You begin to set goals based on your own desires, not the desires society or others may impose on you. This kind of clarity is crucial for real progress as it aligns your actions with your true self, creating a life that feels authentic and rewarding. By letting go of comparison, you free up space in your mind and heart for gratitude and self-compassion. You can start to see yourself not as a competitor in someone else's race, but as an individual on your own beautiful, challenging, and unique journey. Gratitude comes naturally when you realize that your journey is your own, filled with lessons and blessings that were meant for you alone. Self-compassion grows as you understand that growth doesn't have to be perfect, that you're allowed to make mistakes and take detours. This shift makes your journey not only more meaningful, but also more enjoyable as you learn to appreciate yourself exactly where you are. In the end, comparison is a distraction from your own potential. It clouds your vision, takes your energy, and shifts your focus away from where it needs to be. To make real progress, you have to commit to letting go of that habit, to embrace your own path with pride and purpose. When you stop comparing, you give yourself permission to shine in your own way, to become the person you were meant to be. Progress isn't about winning someone else's race, it's about building a life that is yours, one step at a time. Success is a deeply personal journey, and no one else's path can define yours. When we think about what it means to be successful, society often presents a one-size-fits-all image: career achievements, financial wealth, social recognition. But what does success truly mean to you? Have you ever stopped to consider that your idea of success might look very different from anyone else's? Understanding this is powerful. It frees you from external expectations, allowing you to pursue goals that genuinely align with who you are, not just with what others think you should be doing. There's an enormous value in defining success on your own terms. When you let others dictate your goals or measure your accomplishments, you risk pursuing a life that doesn't bring you genuine happiness or fulfillment. Many people spend years chasing after society's idea of success, only to feel empty or unfulfilled once they achieve it. This happens because their goals were never truly theirs to begin with. They were influenced by the values, expectations, and definitions of others. Real success, on the other hand, is deeply tied to authenticity. It's about achieving what resonates with your values, your desires, and your life vision. Imagine two people. One dedicates their life to becoming a high-powered executive, climbing the corporate ladder and earning a sizable income. The other spends their life exploring creative passions, maybe even making less money, but finding joy in their craft and living a life of simplicity. Society might tell us that the executive is more successful, but that's just one perspective. If the artist is truly happy, living in alignment with their values and passions, isn't that equally successful? When you see success as something deeply personal, you open the door to a life of freedom and fulfillment. You're no longer bound by standards that don't resonate with your soul. Your personal definition of success should align with your inner values and passions, not with what the world says you should pursue. This alignment is crucial because when your actions are in sync with your beliefs, you create a life that feels meaningful and rich. It's easy to get caught up in the race, to chase after things that others value like money, fame, or status without ever asking if those things truly matter to you. But when you take the time to define success on your own terms, you get clear about what truly matters. Maybe it's family, creative expression, contributing to a cause you care about, or achieving a sense of peace and well-being. Whatever it is, that's where you should direct your energy. In order to live this way, you must let go of comparison. When you measure your success against someone else's, you're letting their path overshadow yours. You might feel pressured to keep up, to achieve similar milestones, even if those accomplishments don't resonate with you. But real success isn't about keeping up, it's about feeling satisfied with the life you're creating for yourself. When you're no longer distracted by others' definitions, you have the space to fully commit to your own journey, to celebrate your own progress, and to take pride in your unique achievements. A powerful part of defining success on your own terms is the ability to set goals that nourish your life rather than drain it. When you're pursuing goals that align with your true desires, you're naturally more motivated, more resilient, and more engaged in your journey. This is because you're working towards something that genuinely matters to you rather than trying to meet someone else's expectations. These goals will energize you, help you grow, and push you to become the best version of yourself. In contrast, goals set based on external expectations can leave you feeling drained, uninspired, and ultimately unsatisfied even if you reach them. It's also essential to remember that success doesn't always look impressive on the outside. Sometimes success is quiet. It's the small wins, the inner growth, and the moments of peace and contentment. Success can be found in a loving relationship, in raising a family, in learning something new, or in overcoming a personal challenge. These may not be things that others see or praise, but they hold immense value. When you define success for yourself, you learn to recognize and celebrate these personal victories, knowing that they are just as important as any visible achievement. Living a life where you define success on your own terms also means embracing the journey rather than obsessing over the destination. When you're focused solely on reaching a specific goal, often one that society deems successful, you can miss out on the richness of the journey itself. But if your definition of success includes enjoying the process, growing, learning, and experiencing life as it comes, then every step becomes valuable. You're no longer rushing to reach some external milestone. Instead, you're appreciating each moment and finding joy in the journey. One of the most fulfilling aspects of defining success on your own terms is the sense of peace that comes with it. When you're not constantly chasing after others' approval or competing against standards that don't resonate with you, you find a calm sense of satisfaction in your life. You know you're doing what feels right, not just what looks impressive to others. This inner peace is a gift that can't be achieved by following someone else's path. It comes from knowing that you are honoring your own desires, values, and vision. Success is as unique as each individual. There is no single formula, no universal metric. Real success is a life that feels authentic and fulfilling to you, a life where you're not living for others but for yourself. When you define success on your own terms, you're giving yourself permission to live a life of meaning, purpose, and joy. You're choosing to walk a path that feels true, one that resonates with your inner self. This is the freedom of personal success. It's a journey, not a destination, and it's defined by the steps you take that bring you closer to who you truly are. One of the most empowering choices you can make is to take full responsibility for your life. This means recognizing that you have the power to shape your path, regardless of your past circumstances, current obstacles, or the opinions of others. When you take responsibility, you shift from a mindset of dependency to one of independence and strength. You stop waiting for someone else to change your situation or give you permission to pursue your goals, and you start to create the life you want. This doesn't mean that challenges disappear. It means you approach them differently. You stop blaming circumstances or other people, and instead you take ownership of your responses, your growth, and your destiny. Taking responsibility for your life also means accepting that your actions have consequences, and those consequences shape your future. When you recognize this, you become more intentional about the choices you make. You understand that every decision, no matter how small, contributes to the bigger picture of your life. Each day, each action is a building block that either brings you closer to your goals or takes you further away from them. Responsibility is empowering because it means that your progress is in your hands. You're not at the mercy of external forces. You're the one steering the ship. This kind of accountability helps you stay focused and motivated because you know that the life you want is something you can actively work towards. Owning your life fully can be challenging because it often requires letting go of excuses and facing uncomfortable truths. It's easy to blame others, to point to unfair circumstances, or to feel victimized by the hardships you face. But these mindsets only hold you back. When you choose responsibility over excuses, you embrace the reality that you have control over how you respond, over the direction you choose, and over the actions you take. This is where real growth begins. Rather than seeing setbacks as reasons to quit, you start seeing them as lessons, as opportunities to learn, adapt, and strengthen your resolve. You begin to realize that challenges are part of the journey, and overcoming them is what builds character and resilience. Taking full responsibility for your life also means embracing your unique strengths, talents, and resources. Instead of focusing on what you lack or what others have, you shift your attention to what you can do with what you have. You start to see that you have everything you need to take the next step, even if that step is small. When you stop waiting for ideal conditions and start using what you have, you discover just how much power you hold. This doesn't mean you won't face difficulties, but it means you'll find creative ways to overcome them. By taking responsibility, you acknowledge that you are capable, that you have the resources within you to move forward, and that you're not dependent on anyone else's approval or validation. Another key aspect of taking responsibility is developing a strong sense of self-discipline. When you're responsible for your life, you realize that discipline is essential for achieving your goals. You stop looking for shortcuts or quick fixes, and instead you commit to doing the work necessary to get where you want to be. Discipline helps you stay consistent, even when motivation wanes. It keeps you grounded and focused, reminding you that each small step matters, that each effort counts. Taking responsibility for your life means showing up for yourself day in and day out, regardless of how you feel or what others are doing. It's a commitment to your own growth and success that doesn't waver with external circumstances. Taking responsibility also involves acknowledging and learning from your mistakes. No one's journey is perfect, and everyone makes missteps along the way. But when you take responsibility, you see mistakes as part of the learning process rather than as reasons to give up. You analyze what went wrong, you understand what you could have done differently, and you apply those lessons to future actions. This mindset helps you grow more resilient, more adaptive, and more capable. You stop fearing failure because you understand that it's a stepping stone, not a roadblock. Taking ownership of your life means embracing both the victories and the setbacks with the understanding that each is essential to your development. When you take responsibility for your life, you also develop a deeper sense of self-worth. You realize that your life's value isn't determined by others, but by how you live it. You stop looking outward for validation and start trusting your own judgment. You know that you're doing the best you can, that you're working toward a life you've chosen, and that alone brings a sense of fulfillment. Responsibility fosters self-respect because it means you're honoring your own potential, your own goals, and your own journey. You're not living to impress others or to meet their standards. You're living in alignment with what matters to you, and that is deeply empowering. Taking responsibility for your life is about reclaiming your power. It's about understanding that while you can't control everything, you can always control your responses, your efforts, and your perspective. You may face challenges that seem overwhelming, but by taking ownership, you give yourself the best chance to overcome them. You stop waiting for external circumstances to improve, and instead you focus on improving yourself. You focus on becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable with each step. In a world where it's easy to feel powerless or stuck, responsibility gives you back control. It reminds you that your life is your own, that you are the author of your story, and that each day is an opportunity to create something meaningful. When you take responsibility, you align yourself with the truth that you have the power to shape your life in ways that are fulfilling and authentic. This mindset not only leads to personal growth, but also builds a life of purpose, resilience, and deep satisfaction. Choosing to invest in your growth and progress is one of the most valuable commitments you can make. Easy to get caught up in daily distractions and the noise of other people's lives and opinions, or in endless comparisons with others. But when you choose to focus on yourself, you're making a deliberate decision to cultivate your strengths, to sharpen your skills, and to push yourself toward your own goals. This commitment requires you to turn inward, to evaluate where you are, where you want to go, and what steps you need to take to get there. It's not about competing with anyone else or trying to measure up to external standards. It's about unlocking your own potential and creating a life that feels fulfilling and meaningful to you. Investing in your growth means being willing to learn continuously. Growth doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly doesn't happen by accident. It's a process that requires effort, dedication, and resilience. Whether it's learning a new skill, developing a positive habit, or pursuing a long-term goal, you must approach it with a mindset of constant learning. This means seeking out knowledge, being curious, and remaining open to new experiences and ideas. Sometimes this can involve stepping outside of your comfort zone, facing challenges, or tackling areas where you may feel uncertain. But it's in these moments of discomfort that real growth occurs. By investing in your personal growth, you're setting yourself up to be better prepared for whatever life brings your way. A critical part of focusing on your growth is identifying areas where you need to improve. This requires honesty and self-awareness. No one is perfect, and everyone has areas where they can grow. By acknowledging your weaknesses, you give yourself the opportunity to work on them, to develop new skills, and to strengthen the areas that need attention. This kind of introspection can be challenging because it forces you to confront things about yourself that you might prefer to ignore. But by doing so, you empower yourself to grow in ways that will serve you in the long term. You're not hiding from your weaknesses, you're embracing them as part of the journey. Alongside identifying areas for improvement, it's important to celebrate your progress along the way. Growth isn't just about reaching the end goal, it's about appreciating the journey, about recognizing the small victories that mark each step forward. Sometimes progress can feel slow, especially if you're working toward a big goal or trying to make a major life change. But each small achievement is a sign of growth, a reminder that you're moving in the right direction. When you take time to celebrate these moments, you keep yourself motivated and encouraged. You remind yourself that each effort counts and that every step you take brings you closer to the life you envision for yourself. Investing in your growth also means protecting your time and energy. Growth requires focus, and focus requires setting boundaries. When you're committed to personal progress, you learn to prioritize your time and energy, to say no to distractions, and to distance yourself from people or activities that don't support your journey. This can sometimes mean making difficult choices, like choosing to spend less time with people who drain your energy or limiting activities that don't contribute to your goals. But by protecting your focus, you give yourself the space to make real progress. You're not allowing external influences to dictate your life. You're taking control, ensuring that your time and energy are directed toward what truly matters to you. Another essential aspect of focusing on your growth is developing resilience. Growth isn't always easy. It often involves setbacks, failures, and challenges that can be discouraging, but each setback is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to become stronger. Resilience is what allows you to keep moving forward, even when the path is difficult. It's the strength that keeps you going when you're faced with obstacles or when progress feels slow. By cultivating resilience, you equip yourself with the ability to handle whatever comes your way. You're not deterred by challenges. Instead, you see them as part of the process, as stepping stones towards your personal development. Choosing to focus on yourself and your growth is also about taking responsibility for your happiness and success. No one else can do the work for you. No one else can make you grow. It's up to you to take the steps necessary to create the life you want. This means being proactive, taking initiative, and holding yourself accountable. When you're focused on your growth, you stop waiting for circumstances to change or for someone else to push you forward. You take ownership of your journey, recognizing that you have the power to shape your future. This sense of responsibility is incredibly empowering because it puts the control of your life back in your hands. Focusing on yourself and your growth isn't selfish, it's essential. When you invest in becoming the best version of yourself, you're not only improving your life, but also creating a positive impact on those around you. By growing, you become more confident, more capable, and more fulfilled, which allows you to contribute more meaningfully to your relationships, your work, and your community. When at your best, you're able to give more, to support others more effectively, and to live a life that reflects your values and goals. So while the journey of growth is deeply personal, its effects ripple outward, benefiting everyone you interact with. Focusing on your growth is a lifelong journey. There's no final destination, no point where you can say you've grown enough. Growth is about continually striving to become better, about evolving and adapting as life changes. This doesn't mean you should feel pressured to constantly improve or to never be satisfied. Rather, it's about embracing the idea that there's always room for learning, for experiencing more, and for deepening your understanding of yourself and the world. When you commit to this journey, you're choosing a life of purpose, a life that is rich with meaning and potential. By focusing on your growth, you're not just creating a better future for yourself, you're shaping a present that is fulfilling, intentional, and aligned with who you truly are. One of the greatest strengths you can develop is the ability to focus on your own journey rather than constantly comparing yourself to others. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with images, achievements, and updates from everyone around us, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. But focusing on your path means recognizing that you have a unique purpose and that your journey is unlike anyone else's. It requires a shift in perspective, a shift from looking outward at what others are doing to looking inward at what you can create, achieve, and become. When you fully embrace this mindset, you stop measuring yourself against other people's timelines and successes, and instead you find fulfillment in your own progress and growth. Comparison often creates a distorted view of reality. It can make you feel inadequate, like you're falling behind, or that your achievements aren't as valuable. But the truth is, everyone has their own challenges and struggles, even if they're not visible. People tend to share their highlights, not the difficulties they face behind the scenes. When you focus on your journey, you release yourself from the burden of living up to anyone else's story. You start to understand that your path is yours alone, and it doesn't need to look like anyone else's. This mindset brings peace because you're no longer caught up in the endless cycle of comparison. Instead, you're grounded in the satisfaction of pursuing your own growth, your own goals, and your own happiness. Focusing on your journey also allows you to make decisions that are authentic to you. When you're not concerned about how others might perceive you or whether your choices match up with someone else's, be free to pursue what truly matters to you. This authenticity is powerful because it aligns your actions with your values, desires, and personal aspirations. You start making choices based on what feels right for you, not what looks impressive or gains approval. This can lead to a deeper sense of satisfaction because your life begins to reflect who you really are, not who you think you need to be to fit into a certain mold or standard. When you focus on your path, you stop performing for others and start living in a way that brings you genuine joy. A tremendous sense of freedom in focusing on your journey. You're no longer tied to the pressure of meeting others' expectations or fitting into predefined roles. This freedom allows you to try new things and to grow without fear or judgment. When you're focused on your own growth, setbacks and failures become part of the learning process, not reasons to feel ashamed. You understand that every experience, whether good or bad, adds to your journey and shapes who you are becoming. This mindset creates resilience because you're not thrown off course by the success or opinions of instead, you're deeply rooted in your commitment to your own path. Another powerful outcome of focusing on your own journey is that it builds confidence. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you start to recognize your own strengths and talents. You begin to see what makes you unique and valuable, and this awareness builds a strong foundation of self-confidence. You're not seeking validation or approval because you're secure in the knowledge that you're doing what's right for you. Confidence grows from knowing that you are making progress on your terms, that your achievements, no matter how big or small, are meaningful because they represent your dedication and hard work. This confidence then becomes a fuel for further growth, propelling you forward on your journey with a sense of purpose and direction. When you focus on your journey, you also become more patient with yourself. Growth takes time, and every step forward is part of a larger process. When you're constantly looking at what others have achieved, it's easy to feel impatient, as though you're not moving fast enough. But when you're focused on your own path, you begin to understand that your journey unfolds in its own time. You learn to appreciate each phase of your development, knowing that each step prepares you for the next. Patience brings a sense of peace and allows you to enjoy the journey rather than rushing through it. You start to see that each stage has its purpose, and you trust that you are exactly where you need to be. Focusing on your journey also strengthens your sense of gratitude. When you're not constantly measuring your life against others, you begin to appreciate what you have, what you've achieved, and who you are becoming. This gratitude creates a positive mindset that fuels further growth. Instead of feeling discouraged by what you lack, you become grateful for your unique journey, for the lessons you've learned, and for the progress you've made. Gratitude keeps you grounded and helps you see the beauty in your life as it is, rather than always yearning for more. It helps you acknowledge that your path, with all its twists and turns, is valuable and meaningful. Focusing on your own journey is an act of self-love. It's a commitment to honor yourself, to value your experiences, and to believe that your path is worthy of respect and dedication. When you give yourself permission to focus on your growth, your dreams, and your happiness, you're telling yourself that you matter, that your journey is important, and that you don't need to live by anyone else's standards. This act of self-love creates a strong foundation for a life of fulfillment and joy because it's built on the understanding that you are enough as you are, and that your path is uniquely suited to you. Choosing to focus on your journey doesn't mean you ignore the success of others or dismiss the achievements around you. Rather, it means you can celebrate others without letting it diminish your own progress. You learn to admire the journeys of others while remaining deeply committed to your own. This balanced perspective allows you to be both inspired by others and inspired by your own journey, creating a cycle of growth and positivity that benefits everyone involved. In the end, focusing on your journey is about embracing the fact that you are on a path that only you can walk. It's a reminder that your purpose, your growth, and your happiness are unique to you. You don't have to follow someone else's map, you can create your own. By committing to your path, you're investing in a life that is true to who you are and filled with meaning, purpose, and joy.